It's your girl, the Grown Woman Gamer, coming at you with another fire commentary. And today I want to talk a little bit about some of the most surprising things that have happened in the NBA. We're about at the halfway point. It's All Star weekend. There's going to be some amazing festivities in Chicago. This is a great break for a lot of the players, and this is also the point at which a lot of people like me who kind of follow basketball and analyze basketball, take a step back and look forward and really start predicting what's going to happen at the end of the season with more information. So the thing that I'm going to talk about today are just the things that have really surprised me that I definitely did not expect. The number one thing on the list is Oklahoma City Thunder. So I got to give my props and take my hat off to Chris Paul, who is playing some of the best basketball that he's played in his life. I know that that's not quite true because if we go back, he's probably had better stats, but what he's doing in Oklahoma is elevating the play of everyone on that team. And we saw Russell Westbrook struggle to do that. Russell Westbrook obviously is a physical force to be reckoned with. Chris Paul does not have the level of athleticism that Russell Westbrook does, but your boy Chris Paul is so good at teaching the game of basketball. He has to be the smartest, if not one of the smartest players in the NBA. He could be a coach. He played under Doc Rivers for so long. He's learned a lot, and he just knows the game of basketball inside and out. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Steven Adams, Schrader, all those guys are doing so well, and they're winning, and they're in playoff contention, and it appears that they're definitely going to, at the very least, make it to the playoffs. Do I expect them to win a championship in a 7-game series against some of the top tier teams in the West? No, but the fact that they're even there is shocking to a lot of us because when Chris Paul was traded from the Houston Rockets, a lot of people were wondering whether or not he was going to go to Oklahoma and kind of be pouty and upset about the fact that that it didn't seem like a punishment, but it's kind of interesting because I don't think anybody thought they would be where they are now. I think they're like 5, 6, or 7 in the playoff race, and it's going to be a really interesting first round to see what happens depending on who they're paired up with. So that's my number one biggest surprise. The number two biggest surprise for me is Ja Morant. So coming into this season, everybody was talking about Zion Williamson, and rightly so. That young brother is a force to be reckoned with. He is so fun to watch. Talk about someone with athleticism. He could hop out the gym. He could shoot a little bit, and you never know what he's going to do defensively. It's rare that you could say I have fun watching a player play defense, but he's definitely one of those people, and he's so young. I think he's only like 19 years old. He just broke like his own record for having the most 20-point plus games in a row for someone his age. And watching him play since he's come back from the knee injury and since they've kind of integrated him into their offense and into their strategy, it's been super fun. Um, but with that, people knew Ja Morant was good, but nobody was really focusing in on him. At least I know I wasn't paying that much attention to him. I saw him and I was like, oh, that's what's up. I knew he was going to be impactful as a rookie, but I had no clue he was going to be doing what he's doing now. And they're again in the 8th spot, holding on, and it looks like they're going to go to the playoffs. And if you listen to my commentary, you know that my feeling is that a lot of these younger players really don't have not the cojones, but they just don't have the mettle to go to the playoffs and win. But looking at players like him and Luka Doncic, who's also a pretty young player, I I'm I might have to eat my words. These two guys are playing at such a high level. You could arguably say that the numbers that John Moran is putting up puts him in an MVP race. Obviously, I don't think he should be in an MVP race, but he's doing just as good as some of the top tier players on the best teams. And it's magnificent to watch. And they're winning because if you compare his situation to, let's say, Trey Young, Atlanta's not in playoff contention, but Trae Young is playing his behind off. So to see John Morant do what he's doing and see Memphis win on a team that nobody was checking for is definitely a surprise. The other surprising team, or the other surprising thing that's kind of a negative, um, is the Washington Wizards. So coming into this season, I kind of figured that the Washington Wizards were not going to be like the dominant team in the East. If I were to name the teams in the East that I thought would have really excelled, I would have really only focused on two teams. I would have focused on the Milwaukee Bucks, which is obvious. They have the current reigning MVP of the NBA. Plus, as much as I love LeBron, right now, to me, the most dominant player in the NBA is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then, of course, Philadelphia. And Philadelphia, to me, it's a they're a throwaway in a way, because I just honestly don't see them coming together with the level of maturity it requires to win a title. But they're definitely good enough to be a shoo-in to go to the playoffs and to at least make things interesting. And then all the East Coast teams below them, like Boston's probably up there with the top three. The rest of those teams, honestly, were kind of, I always just kind of thought Washington would be able to contend enough to at least go to the playoffs. And they're playing such um, good offense. I think they're like the second highest scoring offense in the NBA, but they're not even close to being in that, top five. And I thought that Bradley Beal, this new kid, Hachimura, I think that's his last name, I thought that they would be able to do a little bit better, but it's turning out that the East Coast teams, that it's competitive. You got Chicago, they're competing at a decent level. Toronto, I think they won like 14, 15 games in a row before just getting their winning streak snapped by the Nets. I just didn't think that Washington would be doing this poorly, so I think the writing's on the wall. The coach has got to go, because there's no way a team should be scoring like over 120 points or something like that a game and losing. That's about defensive emphasis. They have a healthy enough team that if they are strategizing around defense and really paying attention to that and making that a focus, they should be winning at least on a level where they can make it to the playoffs, especially in the Eastern Conference, where, I'm sorry, although the competition is a lot higher than we expected at the beginning of the season, it's not so stiff that you can't be in that top 8. You really just have to be in the top 50th percentile. So that's a major disappointment, because I'm from the DC area and I wanted to see Washington win. That's another really surprising thing. The other kind of surprising thing, just looking at all that's going on right now, is that the Portland Trailblazers are not in playoff. They're not in a playoff position. After last year, watching what Damian Lillard was able to do, everybody remembers that shot that will go down in history where he just kind of juked Paul George. Paul George fell back. Damian Lillard rose up, shot that perfectly shot jump shot in the win in, and everybody rushed into him. And there's that meme of him looking up like, I'm the man. I never thought for 2 seconds that we would be here in February 2020 and the Portland Trailblazers would not be in playoff contention. Like, it's actually pretty shocking to me. You got Oklahoma pretty much a shoo-in to go, and Portland probably not going to go. And now that Damian Lillard has this groin injury, I just don't. I mean, they're not going to the playoffs. Point blank, period. Well, I shouldn't say that. Anything is possible. It's still statistically possible, but realistically, I just don't see it. Especially if Damian Lillard has more than 6 weeks of rehabilitation for his groin. So that's kind of a huge surprise. I mean, the list kind of goes on, but the one that I'll end on is the Lakers. Now, the reason why I say the Lakers are surprising, and you're probably thinking, well, because the Lakers are number one in the West, is because the Lakers are not as dominant as I thought they would be. When we came in, and Anthony Davis and LeBron James, in those first 30, 40 games, they were doing their thing. I mean, they looked so good. The little chink in their armor was that they weren't really winning against some of the top tier teams. Like, they lost to LA, the Clippers, twice. I think they lost to the Bucks. They may have lost to Denver, and I think they just lost to Denver again. Or did they win that game? Yeah, they won that game. I'm so sorry. They went into overtime. They won that game. But they've been losing these games, and with LeBron and Anthony Davis playing, they don't have a load management strategy as of yet. I just am not feeling 100% confident that the Lakers can win a championship, which is exactly what I want to happen because, as I've said many times before, and I say it in every basketball video I make, I am a huge LeBron fan, proud LeBron fan, and I would like nothing more than to see him handle that championship trophy again for what? I don't know, the fifth time or something like that, the fourth or fifth time. I just don't see like a completely clear path. I think that the Clippers are certainly in their way, no doubt about it. Um, I can even see situations where there are lesser teams that we're not paying attention to that really challenge them, and it's largely due to the fact that they do not have a second ball facilitator behind LeBron James. LeBron James is clearly not a true point guard. He spent every year up to this one being more of a small forward swing guard who would occasionally be the person who distributes the basketball. And then as he's gotten older, he's definitely shifting his role more into that point guard position and playing more like Magic, and less like the traditional small forward. But when he's running point, it's definitely fun to watch, but there are sometimes it gets a little sloppy and it does not look like very clean and precise basketball, and I really don't know how that works in a playoff situation, because in a playoff um, situation, the teams, they come with a different level of intensity and focus. They know that plays really do count. A lot of those games come down to the wire, so folks are playing hard on the defensive end. They're being more thoughtful and strategic on the offensive side of the basketball. And right now, it does not seem airtight. So I'm hoping that they can pick somebody up in free agency. I don't think J.R. Smith is the answer. I definitely don't think Dion Waiters is the answer. It's just that the free agency market is really not that great. There were so many really huge moves that were made at preseason and in the off season that it's not looking too good. But hopefully things come together for them. They definitely have enough to win. It's just that they're not a shoo-in to win with some of the teams like the Bucks, even like Denver. Who knows, even Houston. I mean, Houston, if they really nut up, they might be the one to emerge victorious over the Lakers. Whereas before, I was feeling much more confident that the Lakers could go all the way and at the very least challenge the Clippers to win it at the in the Western Conference Finals. But those are my thoughts. I just wanted to say a few things about what I'm seeing so far and what surprised me. Please leave any comments if I've missed out on anything. As I always say, I love you guys. I appreciate your support so much. We're so close to getting 100 subscribers. Feel free to follow me here, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Twitch. My socials all the same at Grown Woman Gamer. Peace and have an excellent day.